Okay, fantastic. Okay, so guys, I am here, okay, to basically discuss the RTP for November 23 attempt. Yes, and we will have a very quick discussion, and also understand that I will be telling you the effects of it. I will not be solving the entire sum, right? We will have a very quick discussion through which what will happen is you will be able to understand the crux of the question and whatever important aspects that needs to be considered and that needs to be remembered or be noted down. I will make sure that you note it down, right? But before I start, okay, I'll just check the sound, right? But before fair enough, it looks good. Okay, so what I would say, my dear friends, let's start with the very first question, that is the case study based MCQs, my dear friends. Okay, let's start. It goes like, Infotel Limited, herein referred as Infotel, is a telecom company operating in India. Now understand, there is a telecom company called Infotel in India, and it is basically is registered in all the states in India and has its head office in Haryana. Understand, the head office is in Haryana, but it has got registrations all across the country, right? Now during the month of January, following transactions were undertaken. Understand, the first thing that you're basically supposed to calculate is the GST payable in cash for the month of January, okay, by head office of Infotel in Haryana. So Haryana branch, Haryana office basically, okay, which is there of Infotel, we need to understand what is the amount of GST payable in cash. Amount of GST payable in cash. Okay, so let's directly hit it, my dear friends. Okay, let's fatafatse say calculate what it is. Okay, now understand that they have also specifically mentioned that there is no ITC that you need to assume. So it will be only in two ways, okay, through which you will pay in cash. One is your output tax liability and one is your input tax liability as per RCM. Okay, it's always either of the two, right, or both. Okay, or both, right? So we will focus only on those transactions where as per FCM, supplier, that is Infotel, is going to pay tax, and as per RCM also, let's say if there are any inward supplies taken by Infotel, okay, so as per RCM, Infotel is supposed to pay tax. Okay, now point number one, receipts from, understand, it's a telecom company, so it will have subscriptions, right? It will have a revenue through subscriptions, that is the postpaid connection, prepaid connection, and all of that, right? So first year in this case is receipts from postpaid connection, 25 lakhs. 5 lakhs is from customers located in Haryana and the remaining in rest of India. Now we are not concerned here about C and S and I, so we will directly take into consideration 25 lakhs as the entire revenue. So definitely one thing that we are definitely taking into consideration, my dear friends, okay, is 25 lakhs. So 25 lakhs is definitely there, okay, that we need to take into consideration. I'll write here instead, right? Next, apart from this, Infotel collected an amount of 20 lakh rupees as a subscription income, okay, identifiable separately on the postpaid bill from the customers. This amount is not included in the collection of point number one, so it's over and above the above 25 lakhs. The same was collected, okay, for payment to Cloud Zone. To understand, Infotel is collecting it from the customers, and after collecting it from the customers, it's actually giving it to Cloud Zone, right? It does not keep it within itself. Why? Because Cloud Zone is an online, okay, content provider. It's an OTT platform, something like a Netflix. Are you getting it? Yes. So so it's the Netflix whose subscription income is actually coming from the customer, but it's the telecom operator Infotel who's collecting on behalf of Cloud Zone from the customers, my dear friends. Okay, perfect. Okay, now coming to this point, Infotel receives an amount equivalent to 10% of the total amount collected from the customers. So here actually the income of Infotel, my dear friends, happens to be what? The collection charges, that is the 10%. So 20 lakhs ka 10%, that is how much? 2 lakhs. Okay, that is actually the income of Infotel, so we'll also take that into consideration. Next is direct receipts from prepaid mobile connection has to be there. 50 lakhs entire payment is received from customers located outside Haryana. Fair enough. That is 50 lakhs. We will be including it here, my dear friends. Next is mobile telecom revenue from PayQuick. Okay, a reselling agent of Infotel is worth rupees 30 lakhs. So basically, PayQuick, okay, has sold inventory, or for that matter subscription, worth rupees 30 lakhs, and obviously if he's a reseller he needs to be paid for it, and the commission that we're paying is 10% of the revenue received. So the revenue received from, correct, okay, PayQuick is 30 lakhs, right? And out of that 30 lakhs we are paying 10% commission, 3 lakhs to him, which is an expense. But understand, the revenue is definitely 30 lakhs because it is 30 lakhs amount that is coming to us, and out of which we are giving 10% commission to them, and that is why 30 lakhs will also be added. Next, Infotel collected an amount of 5 lakhs from the customers located in Haryana against the D2H services. This amount includes a one-time installation charges also. D2H is also one of the services provided by Infotel. 5 lakh rupees, we will also include that. Okay, that also happens to be our outward supply, on which we will have to pay GST. Next is, my dear friends, Infotel purchased equipment for installation of its towers in the state of Rajasthan. The goods were delivered and installed by the supplier at Infotel's site in Rajasthan. An invoice was issued to Infotel at Haryana head office. Total amount charged was 75 lakhs. Understand, now we are talking about purchase transactions. Now this purchase transaction was definitely within India, on which obviously I will deserve ITC, right? Question number 6. Point number 6. Infotel collaborated with Amaze Inc., a company based in USA, for receiving technological support to the extent of 5 crores. Also, the 7th point, as per the agreement of Amaze Inc., in case of any failure, okay, the cloud storage services to customers by Infotel will be given, shall provide the backup server access to Infotel's customer for data storage. The customer is not aware of the fact that the data is stored on Amaze Inc's server in case of failure, for which, okay, Amaze charges 50 lakhs. Again, this is an inward supply, right? Now understand, my dear friends, what I'm trying to talk about is that there is 5 crore worth of payment and there is 50 crore, there is 5 crore worth of payment and 50 lakh worth of payment. That is 5,50,000 out here. I'm so sorry. 550 lakhs, 5 crore, 50 lakhs out here. That needs to be taken into consideration, right? And why have I written here? Sir, ye to inward supply hai. Sir, this is inward supply. Why have you taken this, sir? Very, very, very simple, my dear friends. Because understand, okay, Amaze Inc. is outside India, and Infotel is in India, Haryana, and it is a registered person. So understand here clearly what will happen. RCM will happen, and which is why, my dear friends, okay, since there is inward supply as per RCM, it will be paid in cash, and I need to, my dear friends, include it here. So here what comes out to be the total: 25 lakhs plus 2 plus 50 plus 30 plus 5 plus 550. That happens to be, my dear friends, 662 lakhs. And if you multiply 662 lakhs multiply by 18%, that is the rate given out here. Do we have the answer out here? Yes, absolutely, we have 1 crore 19 lakh 16,000, right? So all I want to tell you is, my dear friends, all these transactions out here, okay, up till here, are all classic cases of outward supplies, where Infotel is supplying and making money, okay, and that is why it results into output tax liability. And 550 lakhs is the payment that it is paying as per, okay, RCM as input tax liability, and both will be added because the question asked is GST payable in cash. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Yes, this was a tricky question. Okay, I hope you are able to gauge it, right? Next, the ITC available to Infotel in the month of January at its head office. Okay, what is it, my dear friends? Tell me, what is it? right? So understand one thing, my dear friends. Understand one thing very, very, very clearly. Okay, there are now, if there is ITC, okay, understand that you will only focus on inward supplies. So 5, 6, 7, these are the points with respect to inward supplies. Now let's focus on 5. Understand, Infotel purchased a certain equipment for installation of its tower in the state of Rajasthan. Kamakani khani kama kama kamakani khani kama padaro mare des. Right? The goods were delivered and installed by the supplier based in Rajasthan at Infotel's site in Rajasthan. Okay. Are you all able to hear me, guys? Are you all able to hear me? Are you all able to hear me? Yes. Right. Now understand, my dear friends, the goods were delivered and installed by the supplier who also is based in Rajasthan. Okay. At okay, Infotel's site in Rajasthan, and the invoice was issued to Haryana branch. Now the biggest issue with this, my dear friends, is, you know what, that supplier is in Rajasthan. Okay, what have they done? Installation of machinery. Now location of supplier Rajasthan, place of supply will also be Rajasthan, because the time when you install or assemble goods at a certain place, okay, as per section 10(1)(d) of the IGST Act, the place of supply happens to be the place of installation, and which is why the place of supply is Rajasthan, and which is why, my dear friends, here the nature of supply happens to be CGST and Rajasthan SGST. That's absolutely correct. CGST and Rajasthan SGST. Okay, absolutely correct, my dear friends. Now understand, my dear friends, okay, this is the supplier and this is the recipient. Now recipient happens to be in Haryana. In Haryana. Because the invoice is given to Haryana branch. Understand that how, okay, how will this make sense? Okay. So as you know that your CGST plus Rajasthan SGST is charged to a recipient who is a registered person in Haryana. Will that Haryana person ever get ITC? No. So I would really would want you to, focus on this transaction. Okay. So a similar thing happens when you go to a hotel. So for example, I am a person whose registered place of business is in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Let's say I go for some business meeting in Delhi and I stay a hotel in Delhi. Understand, where is the location of supplier? Delhi. Where is the hotel located? Because as per section 12 subsection 3, location of a mall property happens to be the place of supply. It also happens to be the hotel, that is Delhi. LOS POS in Delhi, CGST Delhi SGST, that is what that person will charge me, and I will not get the ITC. Why? Because I am registered in Maharashtra. Understand that to get ITC as a recipient, my dear friends, if you want ITC, then make sure that, okay, whatever is the location of recipient is the place of supply. Are you getting it? Yes. Are you getting it? Okay. So so make sure that the place of supply coincides with the location of recipient. Only then the tax actually goes in the state of the recipient, and only then recipients get the ITC. Okay, absolutely correct. And which is why you will not get the ITC here because of this technical issue, right? So it is clearly purchased in the course or furtherance of business, but since it is not CGST in Haryana SGST, but CGST in Rajasthan SGST, you will not get the ITC. Are you getting it? Yes. Okay. I would want all of you all, okay, to focus on this transaction and make sure that if asked in the exam, you are very well aware about what is happening, what is the nature of tax, where is the registered recipient. You focus on this, right? Correct. Then comes 6 and 7. Understand it is RCM, and obviously first you have to pay input tax as per RCM, and then you can clearly claim it as ITC. And my dear friends, this happens to be 550 lakhs, and if you multiply, my dear friends, 550 lakhs multiply by 18%, that happens to be, okay, I guess 99 lakhs. Is there anything else we are missing out on? Clearly that this is available. Is there anything else? Oh, yeah. Okay, we've paid 3 lakhs here. We paid 3 lakhs here. My bad. Right? So we paid 3 lakhs in commissions. So it'll be 553 lakhs. Right? So 550 we've paid to Amazon, IC, and 3 lakhs we've paid to PayQuick. So in that case, 553 lakhs multiplied by 18%. That happens to be, if I'm not wrong, 99,54,000. Right? If you want, just write down the calculation. Okay, please be very aware, my dear friends, these two are very tricky questions, can definitely be asked in the exam, and just because you are a little not aware about the entire situation, not focused, you will miss out on something that you already know. Okay, next is, my dear friends, okay, please select the correct statement for the transaction between Infotel, CloudZone and subscribing agent. Frankly, the classic thing is Infotel is a pure agent of subscribing customers, because it is just collecting the money on behalf of subscriber. Okay, to whom? To CloudZone. Are you getting it? Yes. Next is, my dear friends, the jurisdictional tax authorities are contemplating to bring Amaze Inc. under the tax net. Is the statement correct? Please choose the most appropriate information. Firstly, where is Amaze Inc.? Where is Amaze Inc.? Outside India, right? It's giving service to whom? Correct. Okay, Infotel, which is a registered person in India. Mind you, unregistered nahi, registered person in India, right? And what is it giving? Cloud computing service, OIDAR service, fair enough, but understand, under section 24, only when you are an OIDAR supplier, where the OIDAR supplier is outside India and recipient is unregistered person in India, just because unregistered person is not from whom government wants to collect tax, government asks the supplier to pay tax. So government puts the charge on OIDAR supplier under section 14 of GST Act, and under section 24 it compulsorily mandates the supplier to pay to register under GST. But here, since the recipient happens to be a registered person, my dear friends, the supplier is absolutely not liable to register compulsorily under section 24, and which is why, my dear friends, Amazon Inc. is not liable to register here and not pay tax in India, because the transactions that you are talking about, my dear friends, under those transactions, it is the recipient who is going to pay taxes per RCM, and which is why I would rather say that Amazon Inc. will be covered under section 23, that is people who are exempted from registration, because this person out here is exclusively giving services where tax is payable as per RCM, where it's always the recipient who's going to pay tax, right? And which is why it is absolutely not liable to register and pay tax in India with respect to the above said transaction, my dear friends. Absolutely correct. Okay, next, my dear friends, happens to be for direct to home service, Infotel is exploring the possibility of providing equipment like dish antenna and cables at an additional charge of 2,000. Currently it collects 1,000 from customers as installation, and 1 month charges for services. Now understand, here the combined charge is 3,000, and what actually they are giving is a composite supply, where the principal supply happens to be, my dear friends, the D2H services that they are giving, and not the equipment or something like that, right? And which is why, my dear friends, here the rate that will be applicable will be 18%, and that is what is being asked, that GST on 3,000 shall be subject to 18%, because it's a classic case of composite supply. It's naturally bundled, because if you want to have to procure D2H services, you need that certain dish antenna and equipment to be installed, and it's being installed, and that comes with that services. Okay, and which is why, my dear friends, we will take the principal supply D2H as something that needs to be taken into consideration, my dear friends. Okay, perfect. Now okay, now let's directly go to Guruji and Associates, my dear friends. Understand, here what happens is Guruji and Associates actually are into the business of wedding outfits, and all I'd like to say is that they are arguing that, listen, our turnover is 15 lakhs, and which is why we are not liable to register. But it's the proper officer who actually pointed out that, listen, you did something which is covered under section 24, compulsory registration, interstate outward supply, and which is why you are a person who's liable to register but not registered. You are a person who is liable to register but not registered, and which is why, my dear friends, you will be assessed under the C part, that is assessment of unregistered person. Then comes, my dear friends, okay, then comes Mr. Lala, the Perawala. Yes, now he is basically supplier of goods, and here what happens is, my dear friends, that he gets the order on 2nd May. Okay, he delivers it on 5th May, he raises invoice on 6th May, and he gets payment on 7th May. And as you know that it is clearly not the case of RCM. The only section that you can think about is FCM 12 subsection 2, which talks about date of issue of invoice or last date to issue invoice, whichever is earlier. In this case, the last date happens to be, my dear friends, the delivery of goods, and which is why 5th May or 6th May, whichever is earlier, and that is why we will take 5th May as the answer. Yes, next, my dear friends, happens to be, okay, question number 8. Countervailing duty under section 9 of Custom Tariff Act 1975 shall not be levied unless it is determined that the subsidy provided by exporting country on manufacture, okay, of an article. Understand that CVD on subsidy will not be levied unless it is proved, right, that the subsidy is given with respect to export performance. So the exporter's government is actually giving subsidy to the export manufacturer to increase the export of that particular item. Perfect. So it relates to export performance. Second, it relates to use of domestic goods over imported goods in export articles. So a lot of times, understand, for example, to give you some context, let's say there's this Chinese government who is supporting the export of, okay, batteries, right? Batteries. So battery happens to be finished goods, but it will give the battery manufacturer subsidy only when they use the battery cells which are manufactured in China, right? So you will use a domestic goods over imported goods. So this cell has to be, right, okay, procured from domestic market only and not from international market. You can't import it. So the Chinese manufacturer who's actually making the Chinese batteries has to purchase Chinese, okay, battery cells from a domestic manufacturer, and he cannot import it. If he does that, definitely he will be regarded with the subsidy, my dear friends. Okay, but understand, it is only given to limited set of manufacturers and not to all. Okay, it is only given to limited set of manufacturers. Okay, please make sure that you watch my lecture on customs, right? I'll be explaining this point in detail in my custom summary notes. Perfect. Take it. So the answer is clearly point 1 and point 2. These are the necessary conditions while you are levying CVD on subsidized articles. Correct. Next, that is answer is 1 and 2. So D point. Okay. 9th, my dear friends, Swadeshi entrepreneurs exported goods, okay, having FOB value of 20 lakhs. The, okay, all industry duty drawback happens to be 5%, and the market price of the goods in India. So if the goods which are being exported, if they happen to be sold in India, that happens to be at 80,000. Now understand, there is a section called section 76. Section 76, my dear friends, which clearly states that at any juncture, the market price of the goods that are being exported, okay, So the market price of the same goods in India should never be lesser than the duty drawback that is being granted. So if the duty drawback, which clearly happens to be your 20 lakh multiplied by 5%, that is 1 lakh. Okay. And the market price happens to be 80,000. Obviously, the market price of the goods has to be more than duty drawback. If it is less than duty drawback, then my dear friends, that person is not getting any duty drawback, because understand, there is no value addition happening there. Because if the goods that you have imported, you are, okay, when you are going to sell it in India, the market price of that is lesser than the duty drawback you are getting, then you're significantly selling at a very lower price. And which is why government said no duty drawback, boss, and which is why C is the answer. Okay, question number 10. Which of the following statements is correct, my dear friends? Okay, what is it? Yeah, it says under section 23, my bad. Yeah, it is applicable in case of total loss, even if sum is recovered. Firstly, any goods which are lost or destroyed can never be recovered. Point number 1, because it's not pilferage, it is loss. Gaya to gaya. Next, the provision of these sections are applicable if goods are lost due to pilferage. No, section 23 covers loss or destroyed other than pilferage, other than section 13. See, the provisions of these sections are also applicable even if goods are destroyed at the warehouse. Yes, absolutely, because the time limit given here is the goods are lost or destroyed any time before actual clearance for home consumption. So when you have actually taken the goods from port to warehouse, it is still yet to be cleared for home consumption. It is not cleared. So it is well within the time limit. You will get the remission when the goods are lost or destroyed. Perfect. Next, my dear friends, question number 11. Okay, Sudarshan Limited, a registered supplier under GST in the state of Kerala, is engaged in providing a bouquet of goods and services. Always remember, in such big questions, there is a good probability that the question will be asked as to with respect to paying minimum net tax payable, and there you have to think about the IGST and the CGST and the SGST liability. Okay, first, सबसे पहला, okay, to understand you are in Kerala, remember that. Okay, perfect. Outward supplies, let's focus on that. Distributed 1000 free gifts, electronic items worth rupees 5000 each to purchased from local vendors to its customers within Kerala. You are basically selling free goods out here. You will not satisfy 71A. It is clearly not a supply and no GST shall apply. Next, okay, supplies a consignment of goods in territorial waters to Dhruvata Enterprises. The said territorial waters is located at a distance of 11 nautical miles from Kerala and 12 from Tamil Nadu. Understand, supplies of consignments in territorial waters to Dhruvata Enterprises. Understand, my dear friends, in this case, the important thing that needs to be taken into consideration is that whether it's intra or inter, because definitely it is, you have supplied goods, so it is subject to GST. Now with GST, I या फिर C or S? The answer is C or S. You know why? Because location of supplier is definitely Kerala, my dear friends. Okay, but what will be place of supply? Understand, you are the movement of the goods is terminating in the territorial waters, and which is why if the place of supply is in territorial waters, and we know that section 9 of IGST Act states that in that case the nearest state or union territory will be the case, and which is why here it's nearer to the state of Kerala, place of supply will be Kerala, and it will be, my dear friends, CGST and Kerala SGST. Perfect. Okay, something new, something can be asked in the exam. Perfect. Okay, third, my dear friends, happens to be advance received during the month for future intrastate taxable supplies. Okay, advance received during the month for future intrastate taxable supplies. Advance of 2,10,000 was related to goods and the rest was with service. You know, my dear friends, you know this very well, that in case of services you also tax advances, but that's not the same with goods. In case of goods, the time of supply only triggers when you are either removing goods or issuing invoice, and you are at this juncture nothing is happening, and which is why you will reduce 7 lakh may say 2,10,000. That will leave you to 4,90,000. 4,90,000, my dear friends, definitely will be subject to GST, and since it's an intrastate supply, okay, it will be CGST and SGST. Next, my dear friends, happens to be provided pure labor service of construction of single commercial unit located in Mumbai, not forming part of residential complex. Understand, my dear friends, what are we talking about? We are talking about here single commercial unit. Single commercial unit. Again, single commercial unit. Are you getting it, my dear friends? Yes. God damn, yes. There is an exemption, but here instead of commercial, if residential would have been written, okay, it would have definitely, okay, secured its place for exemption, and it would have been exempted. But my dear friends, it is not exempted. It is taxable because it is a commercial unit that they have written. Perfect. Inward supply. Now, with respect to inward supply, my dear friends, monthly rent paid to Kerala state government for an office taken on rent. Okay. Understand in this case, my dear friends. Okay. Understand in this case what happens is that Kerala state government is actually giving service. Okay. To whom? What is the name of this person? Sudarshan Limited. Okay. That is a registered person. And here clearly the tax will be paid as per RCM. Right, and remember that, please. Okay, it will be paid as per RCM. Okay, renting of immovable property, guys, come on, my dear friends. Okay, so that needs to be taken into consideration. And next is purchased raw material from Saksham Steels Limited, registered in the state of Andhra Pradesh, 15 lakhs. Understand, my dear friends, very clearly. In this case also, okay, you need to understand certain adjustments first. Okay, so for this and this, there are few adjustments that needs to be taken into consideration. So for Saksham Steel, it is this, and for truck wala thing, it is this. Okay, let's just read them simultaneously. So with respect to truck, third adjustment that they say is that depreciation is claimed on truck, and that includes all taxes. That means it also includes GST, and hence we can conclude that depreciation is levied on the GST component, thereby, okay, 16 subsection 3, which talks about no ITC if something like this happens, and which is why in this case there will be no ITC. Purchase raw material from Saksham. Okay, in this case, understand that Saksham had issued e-invoice. Okay, Saksham had issued e-invoice, but that e-invoice did not have IRN, and if you do not have IRN, you do not have a valid document, and which is why there is no ITC there. Are you getting it, my dear friends? Yes, and which is why there is no ITC even here. Perfect. Okay, also with respect to point number 1, during the course of arranging and filing documents, the accountant of Sudarshan, my dear friends, observed that the invoice of 96,000 dated 2nd December last year was omitted to be recorded in the books of accounts, and no payment was made against the same. The invoice was issued by Mr. Rishi, okay, of Kerala, from whom Sudarshan had taken cars on rental basis. Invoice included cost of fuel. Now understand that here they have not mentioned about the rate. If you will also see the question ahead, they've only mentioned about 18% and all of that, right? They've never mentioned about 5%. Now we are assuming that it is 5%, and we are assuming that it will come as RCM. Also understand that we are in which month? We are in the month of January, my dear friends. Okay, and here, okay, here what happens is they're talking about 2nd December as the date of invoice. Okay, now last year, as in, okay, last year they're talking about last, if I'm not wrong, they're talking about last financial year, last calendar year, right? So what I'm talking about is that here, first check what is the time of supply, right? So time of supply, my difference happens to be either date of payment or 61st day from the date of issue of invoice, whichever is earlier, right? Now, is the payment already done? Okay, let's check. During the course of arranging and filing documents, accountant received invoice of 96,000 dated 2nd December, which was omitted to be recorded in the books of accounts, and no payment was made against it. So in January also, there is no payment done. Are you getting it? There is no payment done whatsoever, my dear friends. Right? And here obviously 61 days will not get completed in, so it will take the entire December, it will take the entire January, it will fall in February somewhere, right? If you want, I can just calculate it for you. There's nothing else. 31 minus 2 happens to be 29. 31 in January, here it comes 60. 61 days happens to be in 1st of February. Okay, on 1st of February, my dear friends. Okay, if you can just see here now. So I hope, my dear friends, this is very clear. Okay, that correct. Okay, that the time of supply out here happens to be 1st February. Very good and a very important question for that matter. And which is why, since the time of supply is not in January, there is no way I will pay tax or make anything taxable or add anything in the computation of January. Right? We will add this in the computation of Feb and we will pay tax in Feb. Okay? So remember this very well. This was something that needs to be taken into consideration. Right? Correct. Time of supply is a very important part while you're solving sums. Make sure that you are constantly thinking about what is happening, especially when dates are mentioned. Right? Second is availed arbitral tribunal services worth rupees 7 lakhs to settle a case relating to Companies Act. Fair enough. Arbitral tribunal providing service to S Limited. The turnover of S Limited, is it exceeding the threshold limit? Do we have the information? Yes, 180 lakhs. Clearly exceeding the threshold limit, and hence, my dear friends, RCM will apply and S Limited will have to pay tax as per RCM, my dear friends. Okay, that's it. So I feel I have given effects to all of that. Now whatever computation needs to be done. I think you are comfortable while doing that, right? Of this question, frankly, I would really regard, okay, my dear friends, I would really regard one is clearly this adjustment, because I have never seen it before. Advance is something that you will know. It's a daily part of solving sums. Yeah, this one was also good. Monthly rent paid to Kerala government. Understand, whenever there is government involved and there is renting activity happening, please understand that we need to make sure that there is RCM. And yeah, the best is this one, I feel. Otherwise, I don't think there was much of any hustle out here. I think that's it, right? Yes. Now comes, my dear friends, question number 12. In question number 12, again, my dear friends, something that you have already seen and it's repeated. So if you want to just skip it out, I will just narrate the entire situation out here. Very simple. Gotham Private Limited, okay, understand, my dear friend, it sells a certain product called Alpha, which is exempt from GST, right? Now when it sells the product Alpha, it is not a registered person, clearly, because the only thing it is selling is Alpha. Now obviously what happens is that yeah, with effect from 4 November, the exemption notification on Alpha is withdrawn and it becomes taxable at the rate 12%. Now what will happen here? 18(1)(a), clearly 18(1)(a), you will be liable to register because your turnover obviously is 60 lakhs more than 40 lakhs. Fair enough. And you will get the ITC of only inputs and not capital goods that you have purchased on 1st of July. Fair enough. But there is a twist in the question. They say that what if, okay, Gotham Private Limited was already a registered person in the earlier question. The dynamics change completely. The section that will be now triggered is 18(1)(d), and which is why, due to 18(1)(d), my dear friends, this guy will now get the ITC of both, okay, inputs and capital goods, okay, that he has recently purchased in the month of, I don't know, yeah, 1st July. Got it? That's it. So an ITC, maybe, yeah, just calculate what kind of ITC you will get, because you've purchased that capital goods on 1st July and you're claiming ITC on 1st November. So accordingly calculate the number of quarters. Obviously that happens to be 2, because July happens to be a part of September quarter and November happens to be the part of December quarter. So 2 quarters multiply by 5%, reduce 10% and take clearly 30 lakhs ka 18%, I guess it's 5,40,000. 5,40,000 ka 10% minus karke take the ITC. Got it? Yes. Next, my dear friends, 13th is advance rulings once issued cannot be void ab initio under any circumstances. Discuss the correctness of the statement. No, not really, especially if the decision is taken, okay, on the facts which were fraudulent in nature or they were suppressed or misrepresented. If that happens, then definitely, okay, it will be void ab initio from inception and it will not be binding, okay, on the people who are involved, right? Perfect. Next is question number 14. Pathan Vora of Pune, my dear friends, which is in Maharashtra. Right. Pathan Vora of Pune enters into an agreement to sell goods to Sukumar Enterprises of Bareilly. While the goods were being packed in Pune godown of Pathan Vora, Sukumar got an order, okay, from Sindhu of Karnataka. Sukumar agreed to supply the said goods to Sindhu and asked Pathan to deliver it to Sindhu. Now, whenever something like this happens, mostly when there are 3 parties involved, is a classic case of bill to ship to model. Now, understand who is billing to whom. Let's focus on that, right? Who is the supplier? Who is the third person? And who is the recipient, right? Understand, they have here asked about supplies, place of supplies. So whenever in case of this bill to ship to model, when they ask about place of supplies, you will answer as per 10(1)(b) and 10(1)(c) and 10(1)(a). I'm so sorry. Yeah. So you will basically talk about place of supply of 2 people out here, because understand, in bill to ship to model there are always 2 suppliers unless I'm sending it to my own branch. So in this case, understand, Pathan Vora enters into agreement to sell it to Sukumar, right? So understand very clearly here, Sukumar ordered third person, who is Pathan, to send goods to Sidhu Private Limited. So here the first person is Pathan, who is supplying it to Sukumar, and Sukumar is supplying it to Sidhu. Okay? So as per 10(1)(b) we will talk about Mr. Pathan, and as per 10(1)(a) we will talk about Sukumar. Got it? Make sense? Yes. Now understand, here location of supplier, place of supply. Location of supplier, place of supply. What will it be, my dear friends? Tell me. Very simple. So with respect to location of supplier, my dear friends, the concept is very simple. Pathan kahan ka hai bhai? Maharashtra. Place of supply, Sukumar. The place of supply will be the location of third person, principal place of business of third person. Sukumar kahan ka hai bhai? Bareilly, UP. So here IGST will be levied. And next is here obviously Sukumar is from UP and place of supply is Sidhu. Sidhu kahan ka hai? Of Karnataka. Again, the nature of supply will be inter and IGST lag jayega. Okay, I hope I have made myself very clear in this, my dear friends. Yes. Next. Okay, next, my dear friends, is, okay, 15th. Briefly explain the applicability of GST on application fee charged for entrance fee with respect to issue of eligibility certificate for admission or issuance of migration certificate by education institutions. So I've already spoken about this, that understand, education institution, if they give service to 3 people, one is to their current students, faculty or staff, exempt. to future students by the way of conducting exam and charging a entrance fee, exempt. And third is to their ex-student, right? Is to their ex-student, my dear friends, by the way of granting migration certificate. It will be exempt. Got it? It will be exempt. That's it. That's all I want. Okay. Next question 16, that is Mounty Limited entered into a high sea sale transaction with Fuji for certain goods. Mounty wishes to understand the taxability of high sea sale under GST law and customs law. Understand, my dear friends, what I'm trying to basically explain is that understand with respect to supply of goods in the warehouse, in the custom bonded warehouse, it is not a supply. Okay, correct. And also 7.2 states that if there is any high sea sales transaction, even that is not a supply. So if there is any endorsement of title when that goods were traveling in high seas, it is not a supply. Simple. Acha, with respect to customs, all I want to tell you is that understand, for example, the goods are in high seas. Okay, so for example, the goods are in high seas, right? This is India, this is TWI, this is SEZ, and this is high seas. Now my goods are out here, correct? Now understand, okay, it was me, let's say it was Karan, who had originally imported goods from US, right? Now Karan sells it to Smith in high seas. Now this is clearly not subject to GST. Perfect. Okay, how much had I ordered for? I had ordered goods for $1 lakh. How much I sold it to Smith? $1,50,000. Now Smith, let's say for example, okay, brings it all the way to the port. Okay, and he files the bill of entry for home consumption. Correct? He files the bill of entry for home consumption. Now, who is supposed to pay the duty? Smith. Question is, the BCD, let's say it's 10%, it will be charged on what? 1 lakh or 1,50,000? 1 lakh or 1,50,000? It will be 150. Because the transaction has still happened in a place outside India. So we will always consider the last price quoted to the buyer. And Smith is the last buyer, and the last price quoted to him was 1,50,000, and which is why the BCD will be on 1,50,000. Understand that. Understand that. Got it? Yes. Perfect. ठीक है, तो वो एक हो गया अपना. Perfect. Next is okay. Question number 17. Discuss the precautions to be observed while issuing the summons under GST. Understand that summons cannot be firstly issued repeatedly. Summons should be issued only in case of inquiry. Also, you cannot waste the time of the person whom you've summoned. It needs to be quick, fast. You cannot ask them to wait for hours and hours unless it's a part of strategy. Ideally, you should also call them in office hours. These are some points that you can take into consideration with respect to summons. To understand the perfect language, you can just refer the answer and go through it. Okay? Perfect. 18th question, my dear friends, just to left here. Empine Limited imported a machine from UK in April. The details in this regard are as under. FOB of the machine, 9,800 UK pounds. 9,800 UK pounds. Now understand, FOB value happens to be 9,800 pounds. Acha, freight by air hai, so you will use the format 2. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, go and refer to the chapter, right? Chapter notes that I have issued. Okay. Next is, my dear friends, yes. Freight by air, you will not take it right now. License fee, yes, you will take that right now. How much is it? 600 pounds. Now the total of that happens to be 10,400 pounds. Now this is customs FOB, which we need, right? And then I will use a rule 10.2 because this was rule 10.1, correct? Right? And in rule 10.2, my dear friends, okay, just a second to make it a little more I can write it here. Yeah, this is fine. Now you will ask for COT and COI, and since it is both unascertainable, 20% of 10,400, here it's 1.125% of 10,400. Okay, whatever the answer is, just write it down. Here comes your CIF value, and you have the rate out here. Yes, you have the rate. Which rate will you pick up, my dear friends? Okay, so obviously in case of import of goods, okay, the rate of exchange and the rate of duty needs to be taken into consideration. Rate of exchange will be clearly date of filing bill of entry, that is 99, and rate of BCD will be date of filing bill of entry or date of arrival of aircraft, whichever is later, and that is 10%, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 10%. ठीक. And then IGST 12% ले लेना. That's it, done. Okay, next, my dear friends, next is very simple. Okay, after visiting USA for a month, okay, not for more than a year, for a month, Mr. and Mrs. Rajesh Jain, Indian residents, aged 35 and 40 years respectively, bought to India a laptop, personal effects, and personal computer. Tell me, is laptop exempted? Yes, one laptop is exempted irrespective of the value. So भैया काटो. Personal effects, absolutely no duty payable, exempted completely. Personal computer, na 65,000. Point is, there are two people out here, Rajesh, Mr. and Mrs. Rajesh. Can we pull their limit of 50,000 because this happens to be a country other than Bhutan, Myanmar, Nepal? Can we say that okay, that happens to be 1 lakh and this is 65,000, so this is also under the general exemption limit that we are providing? Answer is no. We cannot pull the limits. It is respectively. So either it's Rishi or either it's Mr. or Mrs. Either have to claim that it is their laptop, and ideally it will be of that person on whose name the invoice is issued. Okay, that person will claim it, and that person will legitimately pay 65,000 minus 50,000 exemption, 15,000 pay. He will land up paying 38.5% customs. Is that very clear, my dear friends? Is that very clear? Yes, sir. Okay, and last is question number 20. It's a theory question where you are about to explain duties which are exempted in case of imports under advance authorization. Please read it and go through it. There's nothing to discuss. Okay, that's it, my dear friends. I hope that I have been able to discuss the entire RTP discussion in a very crisp and in a very fast manner, in a rapid way, right? It's hardly an hour of discussion that we have actually done, and if you actually watch it at 1.2x, you will actually reduce the time to around 30-40 minutes. So kindly go through it, and I feel everything was good except the first two things, right? The first two aspects and that time of supply wala thing in that last question, right? I think others was pretty manageable. So that's it. If you genuinely like the video, my dear friends, please comment, please like. Every like means a lot to me, and if you keep liking the videos, I'm actually thinking of now releasing a new video, my dear friends, where I will be giving you all one topic, one question, where I am specifically drafting questions for you. Yes, questions for you, where if you are done with those questions, end of discussion, you will revise the entire chapter, right? That is my gift for you, and I am doing every bit of mine to make sure that November 23 attempt, all the students bring at least 75 in GST. That's it. Okay guys, all the very best. Please like, comment. Please comment if you like the video. Thank you.